Chosen ones.
Listen closely, for the atmospheric grid has transitioned from purge to placement.
This month is hitting with a frequency.
Far more decisive than the unawakened can perceive.
Do not be deceived by the
Quiet start. February does not arrive with problems, it arrives with turning points. It is the kind of shift that manifests as a subtle tremor before fundamentally rearranging the landscape of your reality.
Most will walk into this month
assuming nothing of significance occurs in the grey of winter. They are wrong. This year, the gears of fate have been lubricated by the friction of the past 30 days.
It is critical
to reframe your recent history. January did not block you, it cleared the path.
Every delay,
every frustration, and every heavy moment was a tactical stripping of dead weight that you were never meant to carry into your breakthrough.
The expiration date.
Wrong directions and draining situations reached their terminal point.
The power reset.
What felt like losing power was actually the universe cutting the cords to parasitic energies.
The cleanup.
January was not the setback. It was the mandatory structural cleanup required for the current wave.
Understand this.
February does not return what was lost. It replaces it with what was designed for you.
We are now
in the wake of the storm. As the atmospheric pressure stabilizes, life is beginning to place the correct tools, people, and opportunities into your hands.
This is the month
of sovereign replacement. The universe is no longer negotiating with the remnants of your past. It is installing the architecture of your destined future.
The void left by January
was not an absence. It was an invitation for an upgrade.
The momentum
has shifted. The path is clear. The weight you dropped last month has been permanently discarded to allow for the high-velocity movement of the next 24 days.
You are no longer navigating the debris,
you are riding the wave.
The cleanup is complete.
The transition is finalized. Your replacement phase is live.
Chosen ones.
There is a reason February already feels unusual, even if the static of your physical life has not yet shifted. Most months announce themselves through external noise, breakthroughs, messages, or forced opportunities. But this month announces itself inside your marrow first. It manifests as a strange, almost uncomfortable sense of anticipation, a visceral knowing that something is moving beneath the surface, even while the matrix of your daily routine appears exactly the same. The sleeping masses will never perceive this, but you, the awakened, understand a fundamental law. Internal confirmation always arrives before external proof. Your spirit senses the alignment long before the 3D circumstances begin to pivot. This is why you describe February as feeling charged, close, or heavy with meaning, even when logic fails to explain why. This month operates under a silent, sovereign rule. Your body registers the breakthrough before your eyes can witness it.
This sense of anticipation
isn't anxiety, nor is it wishful thinking. It is recognition. Your energetic system is tracking a shift in momentum that hasn't fully materialized in the physical realm yet. I call this the pre-event frequency. It is the sensation that the cosmic gears of your life are finally locking into place. February makes the gap between who you were and who you are becoming impossible to ignore. This is why some of you feel a divine restlessness, while others feel an eerie, unshakable calm. You are standing at the precipice of a chapter that is currently invisible to the naked eye. But before I reveal the monumental event written directly into the stars for you, you must anchor your presence in this timeline. Like this video right now to signal to the universe that you are awake and watching. In the comments below, type the words February alignment to anchor your unique energetic signature to this frequency.
Subscribe the holy days
And turn on the notification bell, for in this narrow window of shifting timelines, the transmissions shared here will be your only reliable map. If this channel has guided your path, you can support me with a cup of coffee at the link in the description of this video. Your support is a powerful signal of your commitment to this awakening and your readiness for what comes next. Stay focused. The internal shift has settled. The external reality is about to follow, and it begins with something massive, something etched into the fabric of the sky itself.
What distinguishes February
Is not merely a shift in the emotional landscape, it is the potent orchestration of cosmic timing operating just beneath the surface of the mundane. This is truly one of those rare intervals when the celestial mechanics seem to dominate the temporal markings of the calendar. Even for those who pay no mind to astrological charts, the underlying symbolism becomes too overwhelming to dismiss. The universe is constructing an intricate tapestry of events, weaving together external pressure and internal feeling into perfect synchronicity. A moment of undeniable turning, a profound systemic reset, and a necessary realignment of purpose. We are crossing the threshold into a month defined by powerful, almost demanding movements in the sky, movements that feel deeply personal.
Imagine a solar eclipse,
Not just as an astronomical event, but as a deliberate marking, a stark line drawn between the weighty inertia of what was and the expansive potential of what is poised to begin. Planetary alignments are not just tightening the energetic wires, they are forging an electrical tension that makes decisive breakthroughs feel not just possible, but inevitable. Clarity arrives not through struggle, but through effortless recognition. Decisions once muddied by doubt now feel crystal clear, and nascent opportunities possess a gravitational pull more magnetic than any fleeting desire. February transforms into a chapter where the sky itself seems actively involved, a supporting character in the unfolding narrative of your life. These specific alignments are not intended to create apprehension or dread. Their sole purpose is illumination. They serve to amplify the deep, persistent message people have been sensing in their core. Something significant is initiating.
a foundational shift is underway.
A dormant part of the self is finally waking up. This is the ultimate symbolic sky weather, the kind that forcibly propels life forward, demanding motion. Whether you feel fully prepared or caught completely off guard, once the great cosmic gears begin to mesh, your life's trajectory falls into alignment. February bypasses the need for your explicit permission. It synchronizes you regardless. This month holds the exceptional convergence of internal readiness meeting external cosmic cooperation. It engenders moments that feel too exquisitely aligned to rationalize away, too perfectly timed to ignore. It is the definitive month that invites you back into meaningful momentum, even if the drag of January had convinced you that nothing in your world was functioning correctly. The time, profoundly, is now.
Paradoxically,
One of the most significant indicators that February is indeed a highly advantageous month for you is not a sudden, electrifying surge of hyped excitement or overwhelming motivation. It is instead pure relief. Not relief in the sense of a dramatic, tearful outburst or a loud declaration of freedom. It is that subtle, enduring sense of release that gently permeates your system when something fundamental finally swings in your favor after weeks, perhaps months, of grinding pressure and opposition. Most people fail to recognize the immense power of relief because it doesn't possess the flash and noise of a traditional breakthrough. Yet in reality, relief is the absolute first evidence that the deep, underlying momentum has already changed direction. It is your internal operating system acknowledging that a crushing weight, long carried, has finally loosened its grip.
There is a specific quality of relief unique to months energized like this, a profound lightness that feels like you can effortlessly inhale deeper than before, even if you can't pinpoint the external reason. You move through your days and register the striking absence of that familiar, chronic tension cinching your chest, or the relentless, overstimulated feedback loop cycling through your mind. Tasks that recently felt hopelessly complicated suddenly return to the realm of the manageable. Problems that once consumed vast mental real estate unexpectedly dissolve, losing their perceived urgency and importance. You may catch yourself feeling objectively lighter, not because the visible circumstances outside have entirely changed yet, but because the internal posture, the constant, exhausting preparation for impact, has been dropped. This is the moment where the wisdom of the nervous system preempts the factual evidence of external events. Your body possesses an
Ancient, unerring knowledge of the difference between constant uncertainty and solid stability. February lands with an inherent energetic stability so potent that your entire system is compelled to exhale, as if it has finally been granted permission to cease its long, tiring state of bracing itself. There is no need to aggressively force optimism or manufacture hype. The month itself naturally recalibrates your emotional baseline toward a sustainable equilibrium. It is a quiet recalibration, yes, but its potency is transformative. Relief is not the dramatic finale of the storm. It is the precise moment your spirit recognizes with absolute certainty that you have already endured and survived it. When relief arrives first, it signifies that February is constructing a chapter where life actively stops resisting you. The internal pressure begins to dissolve, the noise clears to silence, and perhaps for the first time in a significant while, it genuinely feels like something greater than yourself is supporting your efforts. You are no longer required to push upstream against a punishing current. The current is finally, powerfully moving alongside you. And when that systemic support is established, every other aspect of your life begins to shift with an unexpected, welcomed ease. However, February's influence extends far beyond merely lifting weights off your own shoulders. Crucially, it initiates a subtle, necessary cleanse within your relationships. And often, this is where the most profound transformation finds its root. February possesses its own innate, elegant way of rearranging your social constellation, but it executes this process silently, almost invisibly. There is no requirement for dramatic confrontation, painful fallout, or big, explosive lesson moments. Instead, the month utilizes quiet mechanisms, subtle energetic shifts, the recognition of deeply mismatched effort, the natural change in core priorities, and the gradual fading of previously essential conversations. These mechanisms serve to gently separate the individuals who are meant to accompany you into your burgeoning next chapter from those who were strictly designated for the previous, finished one. This should never be mistaken for loss. It is an exquisite act of precision.
February
Is diligently fine-tuning
your entire immediate environment so that the voices that genuinely resonate, the influences that inspire, and the right frequencies of energy can finally penetrate and reach you. When life is actively preparing you for a decidedly better, higher chapter, it doesn't just swing open new, exciting doors. It simultaneously and quietly seals shut the connections that would inevitably have served as anchors, holding you to old, restrictive patterns. The individuals who consistently drain your finite energy begin a natural, non-confrontational drift away. The ones who leave you perpetually confused or uncertain cease taking up valuable mental bandwidth. Those who are never truly aligned with your deeper purpose simply stop fitting into your natural rising rhythm. This introduces the profound concept of social gravity. Every single person in your life exerts a measurable pull in a certain direction. Some pull you upward toward evolution, some pull you downward toward stagnation. Some actively propel you forward, and others keep you ceaselessly orbiting the same tired, solved problems. February fundamentally resets this gravitational field. It dramatically strengthens the magnetic pull toward those who instinctively elevate your potential, while simultaneously weakening the inertia toward those who anchor you to outdated versions of yourself. This is not cosmic punishment, nor is it personal rejection. It is an essential, energetic realignment. You may suddenly notice that certain people feel noticeably denser, heavier, or more effortful to be around, while others feel refreshingly, surprisingly light and easy. You might find yourself deeply craving meaningful, challenging conversations and losing all patience for superficial small talk. You may even arrive at the quiet, stunning realization that someone you once believed was absolutely necessary for your identity was in fact merely occupying the mental and emotional space you now urgently require for something exponentially better. The quiet genius of February is that it doesn't take anything away from you without replacing it. Instead, it gifts pure clarity back to your spirit. February removes certain individuals not to inflict pain, but so that you can ascend without any lingering weight pulling at your emerging wings. As this powerful energetic filter does its necessary work, your immediate environment becomes cleaner, your thought process becomes sharper and clearer, and your focused energy becomes undeniably precise. You begin instinctively recognizing who belongs in your articulated future, instead of desperately clinging to who merely fit your unsettled past. And this crystalline clarity emerges as one of February's most enduring gifts. For once, your social gravity is properly reset and oriented. Everything else in your life gains the necessary altitude to rise alongside you. February possesses a highly sophisticated, subtle mechanism for making you realize you have profoundly evolved without the need for conscious effort or strenuous intentionality. This is not the explosive, dramatic, new identity narrative that social media often romanticizes. This change is fundamentally quieter, cleaner, and far more anchored in reality. You simply begin to carry yourself differently. A posture change noticed first by your own internal compass. And this often catches you off guard because, objectively, nothing in your external environment has visibly shifted. Yet, you undeniably have. This evolution manifests itself in the smallest, most telling interactions. Someone might utter a phrase or deploy a tactic that used to reliably trigger an intense emotional spiral in you. And now, instead of reacting, you simply observe it and profoundly do not care. A situation that previously
would have absorbed days of intense overthinking now barely registers on your radar of importance. Patterns of behavior you once compulsively chased suddenly feel stale, boring, and utterly irrelevant. You find yourself fiercely valuing your internal peace without making any public announcement about it, precisely because it is not a performance, it is an organic alignment. This represents identity drift in its purest, highest form. Not a frantic reinvention, but an elegant, necessary refinement. It is the moment you observe that the version of yourself you carried into February is fundamentally different from the person currently walking through it. You did not aggressively force this transition. You did not diligently journal your way into a new perspective. You didn't make a forceful decision to level up. You simply and silently outgrew an older version of yourself and only realized the magnitude of the change when your effortless reactions told the undeniable truth. You may notice you no longer chase the same external validation. You stop feeling the need to exhaustively justify your existence or your choices. You loosen your grip on things that feel inherently uncertain. You are moving through the world with a palpably different posture, internally, mentally, and emotionally. This becomes stunningly clear the instant something that once completely consumed your energy suddenly holds no weight whatsoever. This is the classic, "Wait, that doesn't bother me anymore" moment, and February works tirelessly to amplify this profound shift. It operates like a personality refinement period, meticulously smoothing out the behaviors and reactions that depleted you, while simultaneously sharpening the instincts and responses that empower you. You begin responding instinctively from the perspective of your future self, rather than defaulting to the restrictive patterns of your past self. And this shift alone has the power to completely re-steer the entire trajectory of your year. The deeper you move into February, the more you realize you are effortlessly walking away from complex patterns you weren't even consciously aware you were finished with. And this silent update ties directly into something even more fundamentally powerful. Because once your identity silently updates, your standards follow, and they follow loudly. February raises your standards in a way that feels almost shockingly effortless. Not because you are suddenly angry, wounded, or bitter, but because the new clarity you gained in the preceding weeks simply will not allow you to accept what you once tolerated. You do not need to forcibly set rigid boundaries or try to convince yourself that you deserve better. Your entire system has already recognized that truth, and your subsequent choices naturally and instinctively begin to reflect it. You will notice an increased, clean valuing of your time, not in a defensive or rigid way, but in a manner that feels purely intuitive. You cease giving precious energy to unresolved uncertainty. You stop entertaining individuals who are clear energy drains. You stop painstakingly explaining yourself to people who never invested the minimal effort required to understand you. Standards rise quietly. And yet, this subtle, seismic shift impacts every single corner of your life. This is not a dramatic, cutting everyone off transformation. It is, at its core, a precise calibration of your inherent worth. You are no longer operating from a deep-seated place of insecurity. You are operating from undeniable recognition of the unique value you bring, what you inherently deserve, and what actually supports your highest growth. February aligns your external expectations perfectly with your newly refined internal identity, which is precisely why so many interactions suddenly feel altered. Some people may feel noticeably easier to be around, while others
feel substantially heavier than they used to, purely because your new, higher standards are acting as an intuitive filter, rejecting what your heart no longer resonates with. One of the most powerful realities of months like this is that you do not have to raise your standards through sheer force of will. Life raises them for you. You simply notice that stepping backward into old compromises now feels anatomically impossible. And that is because something inside you has finally and irrevocably refused to shrink itself, refused to fold itself into places that never matched your true, expansive potential. When your standards rise, your entire external life is compelled to follow. February is the month where your intrinsic worth becomes dramatically louder than any lingering excuse. This is exactly why February emerges as a silent yet monumental turning point for so many people, often without them even realizing the depth of the change. Once your standards shift, your choices immediately shift. Once your choices shift, your trajectory and path shift. And once your path shifts, the entire unfolding year can transform entirely based on the clarity gained in this single, pivotal month. One vital concept that people rarely articulate is the truth that energy does not simply move forward and dissipate. It powerfully rebounds. Everything you have diligently poured into your life over the preceding months, even the tiny, meticulous efforts you feared went completely unnoticed, unappreciated, or unreciprocated, does not vanish into the void. Effort operates under a strict, inevitable return cycle. Deep, honest healing has a return cycle. Patience, quiet discipline, and radical consistency all build an unseen, invisible momentum that eventually, inevitably, cycles back directly to you. February is the designated month where that long-awaited rebound finally hits maximum velocity. This is not karma in the dramatic, oversimplified, or overused sense. It is far more precise. It is the universe acting as a perfectly calibrated fiduciary, returning everything you have been giving quietly, faithfully, and without complaint, even during the long stretches when nothing tangible appeared to be changing. You would likely be astonished by the sheer volume of energy you have been investing in your own private growth, without receiving the immediate, external feedback you deserved. But energy is never wasted merely because it fails to pay off instantly. It accumulates. And February is the precise window when that accumulation reaches a powerful, irreversible tipping point. Consider the physics of a ball. It does not bounce the very instant it makes contact with the ground. It first presses inward. It absorbs the downward pressure. It must go perceptibly lower before it can launch exponentially higher. That is the exact metaphor for how the past few months have truly been operating for you. You are not failing or falling behind the curve. You are meticulously building the necessary tension and potential energy required for a far stronger, higher rebound. And February is the consequential bounce, the explosive rise, the amplified return on investment. This is why the good things that materialize this month may feel overwhelmingly amplified, almost disproportionate to the perceived size of the recent actions you took. Small, consistent acts of effort suddenly feel like they pay off in spectacularly big ways. Intentions you quietly set many months ago suddenly reappear with powerful new opportunities intrinsically attached. Conversations you assumed went nowhere suddenly become the precise mechanisms that open pivotal doors. It is the undeniable, energetic echo of absolutely everything you gave, diligently and sincerely, when absolutely nobody was watching. Nothing you invest into your personal growth is ever truly lost. February simply serves as the dramatic, undeniable proof of that principle. This rebound effect can feel profoundly surreal at first, because it creates an overwhelming sense that life is accelerating, finally and fully, in the direction you always deeply hoped it would. And once that powerful momentum is initiated, it becomes infinitely easier to trust that the universe was never ignoring your efforts. It was simply meticulously preparing the absolutely right, perfect moment to return everything to you at once, multiplied. As this slingshot effect takes hold, you will experience a sudden, staggering acceleration, propelling your life into the exact orbit you have long envisioned. The synergy between your silent endurance and the universe's meticulous orchestration will not merely return you to your baseline, it will launch you further with a momentum more powerful than anything you have previously encountered. This is the moment to realize that the universe never bypassed you. It was patiently aligning the perfect coordinates to return everything to you at once. When the currents of your life begin to flow with this new ease, do not mistake this for a time of rest or complacency. February brings the return of power, clarity, and opportunity, but it carries a vital warning. Divine support is an invitation to act, not a replacement for your effort. Momentum is like a sailing vessel. The wind, the divine support, provides the force, but you must remain the master of the helm. You must adjust your sails with flexibility and keep your gaze fixed firmly on the horizon. Synchronicity does not mean you sit idle. It means your actions now carry 10 times the impact. Leverage this wind. Do not merely drift. Navigate with fierce intention. Look back at the gauntlet you have just traversed. Every delay, every crushing weight, and every ending was a necessary part of your tempering. You have forged an internal resilience and a quiet wisdom that remained invisible while you were in the eye of the storm. Now, as reality snaps back in your favor, ask yourself, how will I command this new clarity to architect the future I desire? This is your opening to set higher standards, to dream without apology, and to move with absolute decisiveness. February has unbolted a gateway. Your task is to walk through it with unshakable confidence. Do not fear the transition, and do not cling to the safety of the old world. Everything is happening for you, never against you. Trust the roar of your intuition and act boldly. Let February be the month you stop merely feeling the shift and start becoming the shift. This isn't just a turn of the calendar, it is a profound declaration of your infinite potential. Let this flame light your path for the remainder of the year. Every ounce of patience is being rewarded, every effort is being validated. You are now better equipped than ever to write a chapter of absolute glory.